Creative problem solving. What is creative problem solving? All right, let's look at it from this angle. I was never smart, I have people approach me sometimes. Let's call this confidence building, a creative way to solve problems and develop like confidence. All right, how to play the system. The system is actually, like I said in the other video, there's a play on words. So to play the system, you can play the system from this direction, but what if you were the system, playing the system in personification even? So there's always a way to turn things around and make like a quick, sorry, I'm trying to hit the lights here. Make like a quick switch. You can recover really quickly. So we're in an era now where people don't have to be wrong really per se. They don't have to be persecuted, and things are going to be okay. This is how I got there. I've been doing this for years. People don't really know about me. I never really jump out there for a lot of reasons. I stayed and kind of played in the back. But you can draw out underestimation and make like a V into the future. People think, they think you're stupid. That's fine. You just let them think that. You get one up on them. At least you get to pass. If you can see this other world and know this other world in your mind, that's where I create from. And you make like a whole fucking Farmville or whatever, and you'll just channel from your creation. But you'll notice the structure is all the same. Everybody has a structure where they're stacking these qubits like bricks in another world. Some people call them imagination. You stack your bits out on the black abyss water there. Some of them can sink and some of them can blow away. But let's talk about back to the original point. A lot of people told me I was stupid all my life. I never had confidence. Until I really started to embrace that. Then you can always expect, if somebody's going to say that, then you know the future. You can pass right through into the future. You leave all that stupid stuff behind because you're going to start getting out of that anyway. And this is some of the ways to do it. And then just having awareness for what you're doing makes it fulfilling. So, people said I was stupid all my life. Then they have these other sayings that they're married to in the culture already. So somebody says everybody plays a fool. Or you go up to somebody and you say, well, everybody plays a fool. Well, that fool must be you or him or the other person, and it's got to go somewhere. So you want it to go in a predictable manner. So if everybody plays the fool, then the other person, if you're the fool, you're their fear. And if they're the fool, then you just pass right through. Because they're probably going to be afraid to call themselves a fool. So they won't become a barrier to you. It's almost like walking through a wall. You become the emanation of their fear. And you just bypass them. And the best thing they can learn is not to have fear. And then to follow some of these same similar concepts, we all start spreading these seeds and the world will start to bloom up in a different manner than we've seen it in the past. It's a whole, new thing. I've been doing it for years, and, over time you keep planting seeds and everything spreads out. So now it's like, I want to tidy things up, bring things back into a loop again, and, a focus, back into a circle. Because you want to keep everything organized and in order. And how I started doing that in the beginning, which is a different thing. I make all this stuff up at home in my mind. Then when the first time you put an idea out there, if you have a chronos, a date, then you won't have chronos work against you, let's say. So if you have a date to things, then your stuff is dated. You'll actually it'll produce you as the original first copy, right? So you'll actually have what's called like a SHA, a mark, which will come out on your product. Everybody knows that goes back to you. If you don't have it chronologically stamped and ordered in some fashion, then you're more susceptible to your information just getting away and blowing in the wind. If you don't mark it in any way to have it recognized. And this is how I know what's going on still to this day. I'm able to keep following the minuscule changes that I've put out there over the years. Where everyone else seems kind of stuck and lost. That's kind of how it works. It makes a split path. It leaves, it's like a V or a Y. It'll leave one path lost and the other path not lost. Because there's always going to be this north or south pole. There's always going to be some division in some senses. Now, as far as duality and division and non-dualism, we can get up to the root chakra before we start facing threat of injury, loss of nourishment, things like that. The plain basic survival necessities, that's when duality comes back in the picture. But if we can strip away the duality down to the root chakra, we start building a foundation. We start building something that's solid. And, just like that, like I was saying in the beginning, it's like a little brick, a word brick or something. And, you pass by on, okay, you called me stupid. Wow, big deal, or, oh, I look stupid on camera, and whatever else. My hair's a mess, it works. You'll get by, trust me. Especially if you're applying yourself in a manner to shoot a straight path. Whether that's up the middle or off to one of the sides. The middle is like a hidden path. If you work the two, you'll get like a middle hidden path. And you actually get like the trident later. Be considered like a trident, you could say. Once you know the specific path well enough. This is something I've been studying for years, meditating on, I guess if they want to say meditate. I probably meditate like hours a day, sit and listen to music. I guess I become so good at it that this UI world doesn't affect me. It's like all this, my energy has been pulled into like a 0 point in a circle out of the matter around me. Because when we're getting pulled in a bunch of different directions by different matters, we've actually put our mind into some of the matter. Like this glue gun, I remember it's a glue gun, it's a familiar shape. I look at this, and there's like memory stored in here. I don't have to relearn. So I put some of my mind into the glue gun. How much of my mind have I put into the glue gun? Well, that would be hard to find out unless somebody took the glue gun or something like that. That would based on different variables, time scales, timing and positioning, and then the rhythm to shut it off and negate it. Say I need this really bad at a time and place, somebody has it. Then there's a lot of more of my mind put into this matter here. And that's how we kind of get sucked down into materialism. We put all our power into matter. And then we say, oh, well, just let the government handle it, or, we'll go over. The money literally has eyes. You put all your energy into the money. These goofballs in the Illuminati, they're sitting back laughing, calling people, they probably call these rich people milk boys. They just get the cheese, make the cheese and the milk, and they sit up there with their money and laugh all the way to the bank. Sorry, I scratched my leg here. And, that's how we get marked as a middle class or a class below. The system is literally marking us. They distribute the marks. Some of it is catchy. Some of it's not. Like this stupid dab, which is like Dracula. It's fucking Dracula with his cape. It's like double Z Kyles. That's the fucking future we were going into. Fucking Nazi shit. And Marxism. So you get those two going again. It's like magnets or something, and then the charge explodes into Hitler fears Marxism again, and Marxism fights it back. It's always this two, things they try and captivate your mind in, and then run you around on strings. That's called giving away our power to like idolatry, even the things we idolize. And up in the 1%, they recognize all this. They're laughing at us. So it's time we do something a little bit different. And this is some of the small ways that I started in the beginning. Or if you tell people, you can get a predictable answer of no. If I go up to somebody that's a devout believer in God, and I say the universe has no beginning, they're going to jump into the no square. I'm going to know their future. They're going to probably say that the future has a beginning. So they're in the no square. I literally put them in the no square. They don't see that. This is 4D chess, 4-dimensional. It's like Carl Jung with the pendulum. The pendulum goes between two places. It's like a split your focus. And that's kind of how they've been using it on us to hypnotize us and whatever else. You can be hypnotized, especially by these people telling you about be positive and be good. We've been conditioned like this for so long, we just automatically attach. We just got conditioned and hypnotized by someone saying, well, that looks like somebody holding a little watch too. You want to align with energy in a neutral fashion. You don't want to just go up to somebody and be like, let's go be positive. Because that's to put your mind into something that can't be consistent. Therefore, that would be unstable. So you would align right up with this positive, which you could never achieve anyway. And if you did, you'd be the most positive person. You'd be stuck in this little box. You couldn't even fart wrong. So again, it'd be like living in a prison of some sorts. So we want to get our freedom back from these higher mechanics. And it's not a natural order. Natural order doesn't, or natural law doesn't really jive with it at all. And that's what they do. They get us to will it against ourselves in all sorts of different ways. But if you look up ahead in a higher realm, let's say it's a tree, and then there's a sun and a moon, okay? People can literally put us into the PM, nighttime, or it's too bright in the daytime. They don't want to see. They want to go under the tree for shade. They run back to the tree. They don't want to see the whole light of it. Then they start only seeing the tree. They miss the whole forest and the garden. So if somebody's in the PM or night, it's like depression, right? It's like shadows and haunting things, scary. Think shades, think gas replacing matter, think jokes and goofy shit replacing real life, things like that. So in the nighttime, you get your shit all switched up with your shit. You think you're looking at one thing, but it's something else. You're in a darkness, but it looks like, you have a little bit of the light, but you don't have the full light. You don't have the dark side of the moon either, which is a whole other topic. So that's all I had to say real quick. Remember, if people are going to call you crazy, say the future is pretty crazy and mysterious. Maybe that's all you are is the future. And then they'll say, wow, that's crazy again, maybe. There, you just fucking got 2 for 1. You just go right on through. Like butter. I can't believe it's not butter. But check out my book, The Grimoire Shiva. It's got all sorts of stuff into this topic. And how to really... it's not a book trying to convert you into religion, but it ties into everything. It tries, it's a unification of all things. But it allows you to have your own style, to use your own signature. You have a talent and creativity according to whom you are and who you are and whatever you want to call yourself. I almost have more fun picking a random name out of my mind. It's like a little cube you just dump out. It's got a name there. You pick a couple of names. Bobby Steels. I'm sure the musicians come up with the same type of things. It's all, they take their higher self and they take them, and then they get the third thing. It's kind of like alchemy. That's their alter ego. But think like alter ego. kind of don't just subscribe to things without thinking about them. So that's kind of what you do. You just, in your mind, you put two things together, and boom, they bloom into a third thing. So that's kind of all. Amazon.com. If you type in the Grimoire Shiva, you'll see my book. What else was I going to say? That's all for now. You can tie your name and everything into numbers. That's kind of what people are doing out there. Their own signature brand, as they call it. And then they push their brand. But you ought to understand that the system compels us to do that in the first place. So the higher system is always a compelling force against us in most times, especially when it comes to pinging us instead of us pinging the server, which is, the whole entire universe and nature. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be like saying, I go up and snatch a star out of the fucking universe and I just hand the star out to people. That's crazy, but there's a way you can channel your star, and you can channel the information down into your center focus here. Then you create a gravity around yourself. Your brand and your swirl and your ID all swirls around your heart field. It's in another world. You don't really see it like that in the fourth, fifth, and higher dimensions. So that's kind of like what a messenger would do. It would just tell you about like the things that they saw above, which work into the below, which is the third dimension. And there's all kinds of neat, cool tricks you can do with getting out of ruts, getting ahead, things like that. It's marketing. It's a lot of different things. But what you want to do is always have a unified focus, or you're going to start building beasts. I call them beasts and smaller empires with it. You want to be the guy that eliminates all that competition, and you can do that by aligning with the highest good. So instead of making beasts in different empires, we're all making heaven on earth in one unison, one harmonic force. Whether you use different colors of the rainbow or not doesn't matter. It's that everybody is under the same rainbow. The effects of the rainbow apply to all people. Okay, the colors of the rainbow. I'm sure people out there are drawn to colors. It's kind of like the sun. It pulls in. It pushes out light and it pulls, has a drawing force as well. Not just a law of attraction force. Has a repelling force too. So your heart is like the black hole. And in that way, we're like a mini universe.